Okay, this one should be pretty fun. We're going to be talking about genocide, religious dogma in leadership, both in our country and Israel. And then we're going to talk about the state of US Israeli relations and the potential cracks that may or may not be forming. There's no confirmations. So this is not news. This is just a general discussion of the framework. So, let's first start by defining the word genocide, a deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. The only in name do I believe that they're not trying to kill a particular nation or ethnic group. I understand that Hamas exists, and that is their stated intention, is to destroy Hamas. But their plan to execute this is to send missiles into residential areas in Palestine. And a missile is not a discriminating weapon. A missile, wherever it lands, blows up and kills everyone within the explosion radius. So the idea that you can tell me with your words that you are trying to kill terrorists while blowing up all the schools and all the hospitals that exist in a certain country does not lead me to believe that your military tactics are discretionary. Your military tactics are killing everyone inside that country without care about their involvement with Hamas. So the whole discussion is disingenuous. And the justification for it, believe it or not, in a largely atheist society. Let's see, how much of America? Roughly how much of America is atheist? So supposedly it's 4%. But a lot of the people that I know are not practicing religion of any kind. So I am actually shocked with how low the AI tells me that this is. I guess Wikipedia says it's between 4 and 7%. So this is not confirmed, but I found the comments on this to be interesting. I will never abandon Israel. Israel versus the world. I stand with Israel. There's a lot of things in the Bible that say that Israel is the promised land. Jerusalem is the center of the biblical world. And while I don't believe that a lot of Americans are interested in continuing to fund a war that is killing civilians daily, I do believe that there's an undercurrent of religious dogma that prevents people from looking at this objectively as being good for humanity or bad for humanity versus the ends justifying the means, regardless of if the means are to kill civilians as a byproduct of achieving your goal. So it's important to look and try to understand why your leaders are behaving in a certain manner. And it's also interesting to me why a lot of leaders seem to be less competent than what you would expect to rise to the top. And the truth about this dynamic is that people are more likely to follow certainty versus intelligence. And there's actually a pretty understandable reason why that is. Above a certain IQ, people start to understand the nuanced and complicated dynamics that affect most issues, and they understand that one simple blanket solution may fix things on one side but can cause problems on the other. So, a highly intellectual and honest person is going to communicate these challenges and complexities. And by communicating these challenges and complexities, they actually undermine the confidence that people have in their ability to solve the problem. Whereas someone who has less intellect but more self-confidence is going to give you a very simple, clear solution and tell you that they are the only person that can fix this. They are the only one that clearly understands the issue and understands the simple, achievable steps that need to be taken to fix the issue. As a byproduct, we get shitty plans that don't work. We get plans where we take action and the result actually blows up in our face and things get worse just in a different way. Now let's talk about potentially U.S.-Israeli relations being slightly strained and the idea that this nation may stop funding. Let's start with that, actually. So, the important part is right here. Israel has been the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. foreign aid since its founding, receiving about $310 billion adjusted for inflation in total economic and military assistance. The United States has also provided large foreign aid packages to other Middle Eastern countries, particularly Egypt, Iraq, but Israel stands apart. And you can clearly see the difference between these nations shown in the chart right here. So, my problem with this conflict, in addition to the genocide that's occurring in Palestine, is a greater conflict developing out of this small conflict that we currently have ongoing in the Middle East currently. And I cannot understand someone who does not possess that religious dogma that makes them believe that there is no cost too great for Israel to succeed or for the American foothold that Israel supposedly represents in the Middle East to have any trouble. I don't even think this is a realistic argument. You have a nuclear armed nation. You have a wealthy nation. You have a nation that has free healthcare for its citizens, while Americans struggle to find healthcare. And yet they need all this money and all this support to keep pouring into Israel, which I could actually support if they wanted to be strong and peaceful and not murder an entire population of people. I could actually understanding wanting to continue to support Israel because they stabilize the region. But as soon as they become the agitator in the region, if you have a child misbehaving, you don't increase their allowance. You cut them off. And I believe they are acting like children, selfish. I mean, I'm not going to say children are murderous, but they are being selfish by murdering their neighbors who do not have the capability to do material harm to the nation. They are living beside a nation that they have oppressed for 20 years and restricted what comes in and out. They have had almost complete unilateral control over this region. And then when that wasn't enough, when some of their citizens got kidnapped, they felt like the appropriate response was to drop tens of thousands of pounds of ordnance indiscriminately across the country, lay the entire infrastructure to waste. And it reminds me a lot of what we found when we went to Iraq. Everything was supposed to be super easy. I remember when George Bush came out on the deck of the carrier and said we did it almost immediately. And then the war continued for 20 years because as you kill people, you recruit more hatred and more motivation for your enemies. You kill one person, and their nephews and their uncles and their fathers and their brothers and their sons become indoctrinated against you. And people who normally would never be motivated to fight you suddenly take up arms. Bombing for peace is like fucking for virginity. It doesn't make any sense. History will judge Netanyahu and Trump on whether they can keep U.S. ties ironclad. It's an editorial. We're not even going to read it. But the headlines are going to make you feel fear. Headlines, they don't actually announce the news. They seem to announce what's coming. They seem to be geared towards softening you for the acceptance of the announcement. So I think that they're just trying to tell us that the U.S. is not going to be okay unless we keep our ties ironclad. I want to have ironclad ties with good nations that are not starting wars. I don't think that's a big ask. I don't think that's disrespectful to Israel. I think that that's pretty reasonable for absolutely any country that we have foreign relations with. I don't think that we should support China for killing the Uyghurs. I think that we should take a stand on a lot of different ethnic cleansing and genocide that goes on in the world, and it seems like we only care about oil and big trade partners. That's really weird in a capitalist society that's predicated on making money. It's weird that we would only be concerned with the actual financial aspect, even though we claim to be trying to save humanity, save the world. Israel is worried about any deal Trump might strike with Iran. Oh God, imagine striking a deal with a hostile nation instead of just getting into a perpetual war with them. I mean, this is what I mean about stupidity. The only way to combat stupid leadership in our nation is to have an informed population. You combat stupidity with intellect. You combat ignorance with knowledge. So if you don't like what's going on in your country, become informed. Become a part of the process. Let your voice be heard. Even if you fear censorship. You know, this could be the end of this channel. Who knows? It's a fun little experiment. I've already had videos taken down relating to this and, you know, the fact that I had heart condition from the vaccine and all kinds of stuff that they won't let you say on the internet. It's really great state of affairs to have our public square co-opted by private companies that then decide what we, the free American people, can discuss. I'm just renting space on YouTube servers and they can shut me down anytime they want. So it is what it is. You just understand that you are in a techno-feudalist digital environment. We own nothing. You have the landed elite who own all the servers, and these people get to decide whether you're allowed to live on their servers as long as you're a good boy and you play by the rules that they want you to play by. And when you don't, they give you a couple slaps on the wrist before they delete you and send you off into oblivion. So I guess we'll find out. Good luck, and may the odds ever be in your favor out there.